malala noong panahon ni Duterte.
Opo, kasi
Mas malala.
tuloy-tuloy po yung mga pagpatay noon. Magmula po nung nabidyohan po yung mga police informer na pumasok sa isang bahay sa Tala, pinasok nila, nakunan po na nagnanakaw po sila ng cellphone, mga gamit ng mga tao na pinapasok nila na bahay. Kaya yung mga police po noon, nailipat po sa mga iba-ibang lugar. Doon po sila uli gumagawa ng mga pagpatay, papasukin yung bahay, nanakawan, ganun po.
Okay. Okay, so ay lang Mr. Chair, no, gusto ko lang makita dito, no, yung before, during, at saka yung after. So, ibig sabihin po, Mr. Chair, itong war on drugs ni Duterte ay parang talagang makukonclude natin sa case po ng Bagong Silang na talagang ano po, no, talamak talaga, no, at hindi talaga, I mean, walang ano, no, walang pagpapaliwanag, no, na dapat na anuhin natin doon sa regarding doon sa pagpapatay, lalong-lalo na doon sa mga menor de edad, may sakit, senior na mga tao na na biktima nitong war on drugs, Mr. Chair. Thank you po.
Vice Chairperson.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi ta'ala wabarakatuh. Magandang hapon po sa ating lahat. Una po sa lahat, ako po isang magulang din. Meron po na akong 14-year-old na anak na lalaki. Meron akong 15-year-old na anak na babae. So yung mga kwento po ninyo kanina nung pumasok po ako, talagang tagus po sa ating puso yan, no? Lahat po ng magulang, we really can empathize, no? Hindi lang yung pagkamatay but the circumstances surrounding the death of this individual. So yun po yung yun po yung tumatalab po, no, sa ating sa damdamin po natin. First, Mr. Chair, I'd like to ask Attorney Conti, because the topic of the discussion here today, Mr. Chair, is it's based on the privilege speech or the House of Resolution of Congressman Castro, and the words that we often hear during the course of this discussion is extrajudicial killings. I believe, Mr. Chair, these terms were coined during the time when the former President Duterte took his office in Malacanang, no? Prior to his election to the office, extrajudicial killing is not an uncommon terms that we often hear, no, in the streets. So I would like to ask you, no, is there a textbook definition, maybe perhaps a universally accepted legal definition of what constitutes extrajudicial killing?
As to the textbook definition, like in other terms, there is none, but there are hallmarks or categorical frameworks. But also, I would like to point out that the term actually gained notoriety more during the time of former President Gloria Macapagal Arroyo, during the spate of extrajudicial killings, enforced disappearances, particularly under the helm of former General Jovito Calparan, called the Butcher. So extrajudicial killings are those killings that are outside of the legal framework. So that's why it's extrajudicial, meaning there is no court or tribunal or office that ordered the execution. Second, and this is peculiar, which distinguishes it from murder, because I mean, obviously, anyone who is killed outside of an order of a court is murder. But the concept of state participation is crucial. In the context of the Philippines, it has always been believed to be part of this concept of extrajudicial killings. This is debatable, actually. In other jurisdictions, they say extrajudicial killings should also involve killings of non-state actors, etc. But in the Philippines, it is more so believed as killings that have either state participation or state acquiescence, meaning you can have private armies roaming around killing people, but with the either protection, encouragement of state parties,
Okay.
either the governor or whoever independent.
Thank you. Just so basically, the extrajudicial killing, because if am I correct in my assumption that there is no legal accepted definition of what extrajudicial killing is
In the Philippines as of now, yes, Your Honor.
in the Philippines? Okay. Now, the committee would like to find out if this war on drugs actually constitute a systematic, no? Because that's the term that we'd like to find out as part of this committee, whether it was systematically done, ordered to liquidate to kill a certain number, a group of people, no, associated with illegal drug trade or illegal drug use, no, and whether the government or any institution of the government was used in order to pursue this policy, no. So, in other words, Mr. Chair, what I got from the explanation of Attorney Conti is that number one, there's no actual legal definition of what constitutes extrajudicial killing. Only that it is primarily defined when circumstances are involved. Like, for example, if a state or any instrumentalities of the state is being used, no, in order to pursue such policy. Is it correct? So, can you confirm?
Yes,
Okay.
Your Honor. That also presupposes that impunity is an integral part of extrajudicial killings, meaning because they are protected, these persons can readily get away with murder.
Yeah.
For example po, kung pulis yung pumatay, kung huhuli din sila kapwa pulis, ensure nila na yung investigation
So-
maayos and so forth.
Mr. Chair, Attorney Conti, based on the testimonies of some of the victims, families of the victims here, kanina they're not really sure whether they're the one that committed the killing, no, ay police or ano kasi nakabonet, no. What about yung mga sinasabi nilang vigilante, those who are unrecognizable because they cover their face with bonnets, no, and then they do that killing, no, but we do not have the actual information whether they're part of the state or they're part, but they're doing exactly what you have been saying. Can also that be considered as extrajudicial killing?
Yes, sir. Actually, in this context, especially with the testimony of some, the armed men that can enter or do enter communities, they call them police. Kahit po hindi nila nakikitaan ng badge o kaya ng uniform. Kasi police lang ang kayang may gawin yon in broad daylight. Even the killings during the pandemic with vigilante killings riding in tandem, the only people who could go out of their homes during the pandemic were public officers, public officials. Kaya po yung perception talaga nila ay police ang pumatay. Kaya kung minsan tatanungin niyo po sila, sino ang pumatay? Ay, dumating yung mga police. But when you clarify, hindi pala nagpakilalang
Okay.
police. So, sorry, Your Honor. But also, I'd like to point out that the modus operandi, you could also trace some sort of system. If they do the same thing over and over again, nakasakay ng motorsiklo, magkakasunod, may dalang baril yung isa, bababa yung isa, tapos tatalilis, paalis. That kind of modus operandi could already point out to a system. And then second, sabihin na natin hindi po police ang pumatay. Sabihin na natin, with that argument, it is still the responsibility of the police and the government to investigate. And which is why I raised the second aspect of command responsibility that, and in this case for police operations and even for vigilante killings, the state has the responsibility to investigate. And your failure to investigate leads to impunity, which points out to probably whitewashing or cover up.
Okay, so I believe, Mr. Chair, Attorney Contini, we do have a sense of understanding of what vigilante is, no? But for the sake of discussion, no, because you are a lawyer, and I believe you've been exposed to international law, especially if it concerns human rights, no, upholding and promoting human rights. Can you give me at least a working definition of what vigilante is legally?
Again, Your Honor, there is no particular term for
Okay.
vigilante. In fact, when you say it's murder in our law, but for vigilante killings, Um, well, they actually, it should be better termed as mercenary killings because the killings in the Philippines, as admitted even by the killers themselves, some killers have surfaced, have said that they kill for money. So they're killers for hire. But vigilantes generally are, well, either they are one, unidentified, and two, non-uniform. Either they are, but they may even be police officials or even uniformed police officers, but off duty. So, meaning at that time, hindi lang po sila on duty. So, they are unidentified and then that they are non-uniform. But it does not, kumbaga, it doesn't limit their role, their activities, na hindi naman coordinated. From what we see, vigilante killings in the Philippines are in fact coordinated and are perpetrated by, let's say, a select group of people. It's not, I mean, even in our culture, tabu ang pumatay po ng kapwa-tao eh. Kumbaga, it's not just regular Filipinos going around killing others. These are Filipinos who are, or people who are trained, who are equipped to kill others.
Okay. Thank you. Mr. Chair, I'm asking these questions because I want to distinguish really what vigilante from that of the hired assassin or hired di ba? So you're telling us is that a vigilante can be an individual, either policeman or in service, but out of kumbaga nasa sa duty, no? Parang ganon. So if, for example, a person who hires or who receives money from, say, for example, from an official to do commit certain act, let's say, to kill a specific individual also, how does that differentiate from the hired gunmen na sinasabi natin, no? Kasi the reason why I'm asking this, Mr. Chair, is I want to know whether this was done systematically, because I would like to know whether the allegation, no, really has that really holds water, no, and we want to find out whether, whether the state served forces has actually resorted to getting other people, no, as a auxiliary forces or multipliers, no, so to speak, in order to carry on with this nationwide campaign against war on drugs. That's what I'm trying to understand. So can you, Attorney Conti, can you give me an answer? How would we now distinguish whether that person is a hired assassin, a hired gunman? Ang tawag po natin gunman, 'di ba? Minsan vengeance, minsan may utang si ganito, hindi binayaran. Usually karamihan diyan mga kabit-kabit, 'di ba? I'm sorry, no? Parang ganun eh. Tapos sinire, tapos pinatay. From that of a policy na we are talking about na may talagang merong systematic. So how would you distinguish that?
In this case, Your Honor, I think we would rather look at the victims rather than the intention or parang saan po galing yung pera. So if there is a commonality among the victims, that could point to a system. And I also just wanted to clarify why I was pointing out the difference between the Philippines, how we define vigilante. Kasi po yung classic po sa comics na vigilante, si Batman. 'Di ba? Vigilante siya na paggabi papatay niya yung mga ano. Pero yung sa atin, may target. And this is where we go and look at the system. The targets of the killings are the same whether they are police operations or vigilante killings. The people who have been victimized in the context of the war on drugs are either on the drug lists or perceived drug addicts. In fact, in the first wave of killings, supposedly these were the Sinaloa type killings. In one of our sessions, Your Honor, we pointed out that found dead bodies was one of the characteristic of the first wave of killings. Ito po yung may nakatali, tapos may karatula. Pusher ako, addict ako, wag tularan. Later on, the police targeted or I don't know intentionally because of Nanlaban operations, drug addicts and pushers. And so the commonality of the targets and the victims tell us that there is some sort of system. And secondly, there was an atmosphere or an environment, a conducive environment for the killings to continue. Not only to happen, because it had happened in the first year of the Duterte administration, but why did it continue until 2022 and until now a bit? It's because the environment told the police or whoever the killers were that it's okay to kill and you will get away with it. If I may point out, Your Honor, there are only 8 policemen convicted of killings na nanlaban. But there are 6,252, as we admitted, who were killed, as admitted by the government, who were killed in police operations. Bakit wala po yung mga kaso? And there are probably up to 30,000 more who were killed in the context. Bakit sila walang kaso o walang investigasyon? And that's the ultimate point of kumbaga impunity. In these cases, the killers get away even if they targeted a specific portion of the community. Even if alam nating lahat mamamatay ka. Ang nahirapan nga po kami yung mga drug lists tend to be death lists. And we were in possession of one list, 26 names. Tapos 23 patay na po. Siya yung isa dun sa 3 buhay pa. So it was unintentionally, kumbaga, parang sabi, paano ka namin tatago? So the drug lists that actually even the president presented as narco politicians or narco lists were dangerous, Your Honor.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Chair. If I may be able to continue. And how many cases that you handle now? I don't know if you are the private counsel of all of the family victims now. How many do you represent?
Your Honor, under Rise Up for Life and for Rights, the organization which we assist, there are about 200 families, 200 cases. Of those, we were able to build up and file in court 6 cases. Of those, only 1 we brought to court successfully. And the conviction was the one that was handed down last June 18th.
Mhm.
The conviction of 4 policemen.
And with all of these cases that you handle,
The
have
others were
similarities in relation to the circumstances surrounding their death? Pare-pareho lang ho ba?
Yes po. Ito po ay mga police operations because one, kailangan niyo po kasi ng pumatay. Sino yung pumatay para makapagsampa ng kaso? So there is a good majority of victims who do not know the perpetrators, yung pong riding in tandem vigilante. But the police operations, you could actually file charges of the 6,000. Konti lang po yung na-build up namin. Yung isa, yung
So
na-enforce na.
how many cases do you handle now that actually charges an actual police or it was done in an actual police operation?
The case of People versus Cervantes was the last one that we were able to.
How many cases now?
Wala na po. Tapos na po.
Tapos na po. Tapos
Opo.
na. So ibig sabihin yung out of 200 plus, lahat po ito vigilante killings?
Hindi naman po. It's a mix of police operations. It's a
Okay.
mix of
That's what I'm asking of.
it's a mix of vigilante killings and police operations. But the 6 that we were able to file in court
Mhm.
involved police operations.
Of this, between the cases that involves vigilante or your manner of killing is vigilante type of killing versus that of the ones that were killed during actual police operation, do they have similarities?
Yes, Your Honor. One, yung suddenness of the attack. Second, the brazenness of the attack. So, in the testimonies that you have heard po, parang papasok na lang ng bahay o kaya ng kung anumang lugar. Tapos, kumbaga, kahit may nakakarinig, kahit may nakakakita. And then there is another, it's not, kumbaga, all too common, but often in other cases, the victims are brought to an area or to a particular field in an abandoned area in the community, which are identified as killing spots. These areas would have no or or broken CCTVs, and therefore no evidence of whatever happened.
Maraming salamat po. I-follow raw ho natin yung admin reach.